last but certainly not least, we have 1440. Good morning, it's Friday, July 24th, and we're watching Dr. Anthony Fauci's opening day throw on repeat. Honestly, it's kind of depressing to watch. Does a little hard left thing. Doesn't actually make it to the plate or the catcher. Pretty sad. And then he got to sit in the stands with his wife and somebody who was presumably a friend, shoulder to shoulder. Empty seats all around. Nobody else in the country allowed to watch a live football game except for Dr. Anthony Fauci. Need to know. Initial unemployment claims rise. Just over 1.4 million Americans filed initial unemployment claims last week, slightly higher than economist expectations, and an increase of roughly 100,000 from the previous week. It marks the 18th consecutive week of more than 1 million first-time claims and breaks a 15-week streak of gradually declining claims since peaking at 6.9 million in late March. California saw the highest number of claims at nearly 300,000. How many of those are newly minted illegal aliens that are pouring across the unsecured California border? Analysts say the rise is partially driven by a number of states reversing reopening plans and amid growing coronavirus cases. Continuing claims, workers who have been collecting benefits for at least 2 weeks, a better proxy for current unemployment, dropped by 1.1 million from the previous week's report to 16.2 million. Figures for continuing claims lag initial claims by 1 week. Separately, Labor Department data show 13.2 million additional workers, typically self-employed contractors or gig economy workers, are receiving unemployment benefits under a coronavirus stimulus provision, which runs through the end of the year. I don't think that it should run that long. The figures come as a $600 per week boost to unemployment benefits provided under the CARES Act stimulus package ends this month. The last payment for most comes this weekend. Individuals can expect an average of $383 per week absent the provision. Jacksonville canceled. President Trump announced yesterday the Jacksonville, Florida component of the GOP convention scheduled for August will be canceled, citing COVID-19 concerns. Why give in? Why give in? The event was originally scheduled for Charlotte, North Carolina, but was relocated after the state pushed for a limited gathering. Delegates will still gather in Charlotte August 24th to formally nominate Trump as the GOP presidential candidate. It is unclear whether he will accept in person. Look, I understand why Trump personally might want to wear a mask or not go to gatherings and such, because he is of a certain age that puts him in the danger zone for this. But you don't have to ruin everything for all the younger people. The move came as the number of reported coronavirus cases in the U.S. passed 4 million, doubling the number of known cases in just 6 weeks. States like Florida and Arizona have begun to see downward trends in new cases, while reported cases are on the rise in Texas, California, Louisiana, Mississippi, and elsewhere. See how your state is doing here. The rise in new cases is only partially due to an increase in testing capacity. Testing positivity, the fraction of tests returned as positive, has more than doubled since June 1st in the South, now more than 12%, and the West, 8.7%, but has stayed flat in the Northeast, 1.9%. See the data here. More than 144,305 people have died from the virus in the U.S., allegedly. More than 633,000 globally, with daily deaths passing 1,000 each of the past 3 days, a threshold not broken since late May. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has said the number of actual cases could be 2 to 13 times higher in some regions. which means that the death rate is a fuck ton lower. The agency has established a map of estimated seroprevalence, the percentage of the population already infected based on antibody blood tests in different states, updated as new studies are completed. View the graphic here. In related news, the degree to which reinfections occur is still up for debate, though many experts now think severe reinfections are very unlikely. Ahaha. No payroll tax cuts. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said the White House had reached an agreement with the Senate on the outline of a fourth coronavirus stimulus package, but that it would not include a payroll tax cut. Despite the broad agreement, haggling on details prevented Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell from a scheduled unveiling yesterday. Known provisions include $105 billion for education, with $30 billion set aside for schools planning to reopen in the fall. Direct payments would be exactly the same as the March package that sent $1,200 checks to households, with a phase-out beginning at $75,000. Oh, so not lowered to $40,000. Okay. The $600 per week unemployment boost is likely to be extended at lower levels. What? The goal is to provide the newly unemployed 70% of their pre-panic income, but does not extend an eviction moratorium that ends this month. Okay, good. See more details on the proposal here. Negotiations with House Democrats, who previously unveiled a $3.5 trillion bill, start shortly. Can we just... Moderation, okay? Moderation. Where is this money supposed to be coming from? This is irresponsible, okay? Billions of dollars is bad enough. Let's not make it trillions. Separately, the Senate voted 86-14 to approve a defense policy bill that requires the renaming of military bases honoring Confederate leaders, setting up a veto showdown with the White House. In the know, sports, entertainment, and culture. Taylor Swift dropped surprise album Folklore this morning. Kanye West also set to release new album Donda today. Donda? Like, where? But album may be delayed as of this morning. WNBA season tips off Saturday, that was yesterday, in a bubble in Bradenton, Florida, with a truncated schedule. See what life is like inside the WNBA bubble. Probably sucks. Washington, D.C.'s NFL franchise will be known as Washington Football Team for 2020 season. That's formerly known as the Redskins, while team seeks a permanent name. Seattle's expansion NHL team announces it will be known as the Kraken. Science and technology. Genetic analysis suggests the virus that causes smallpox was circulating in humans as early as 600 AD. The variola virus was declared eradicated in 1980, but its origins remain unknown. NASA's Mars rover passes flight readiness test, has nuclear power source installed, ahead of July 30th launch. Cool. Nuclear power. It's the future. Scientists find a chemically altered DNA base pair plays a role in placenta development in mice. It was unclear if the compound, methylated adenine, even existed in mammals. Was unclear. But now it is clear because mice are mammals. How DNA works. Business and markets, brought to you by The Ascent. Big tech stocks lead U.S. stock markets lower. S&P 500 down 1.2%. Dow down 1.3%, NASDAQ down 2.3%, as weekly unemployment claims tick up. Ascena Retail Group, owner of brands like Ann Taylor, Lane Bryant, Loft, and others, files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Will close a significant number of its 2,800 stores. Twitter sees average daily users grow 34% over last year to 186 million, while ad sales sink 23% due to panic. Have credit card debt? Now is a very good time to jump on a balance transfer. Get a 0% introductory APR for 18 months on balance transfers with this card. Give yourself a year and a half to pay off your balance for peace of mind. How do they know that those sunken ad sales are due to the panic? I mean, couldn't it be that some advertisers don't want to work with Twitter because Twitter censors people, including the president? Politics and world affairs. Thousands of Portland protesters, I think you mean rioters, gather outside federal courthouse, demand removal of protective fence so that they can get in and trash the place. Federal officers used tear gas and crowd control munitions after fireworks were shot from the crowd into the protected space. Yeah, see, that's not protesting. That's violent rioting. Judge rules the government retaliated against former Trump personal lawyer Michael Cohen over a potential upcoming book. Cohen ordered back to home confinement for the duration of his 3-year sentence. The UK offers pathway to citizenship to millions of Hong Kong residents on the heels of controversial national security bill passed by Beijing. Offer applies to older residents who gained British national status before 1997 handover. That's mighty nice of the UK. What are the younger ones going to do, though? In depth. Inside the Space Force. From Time. Under the public's radar, Russia carried out the first observed demonstration of space-based anti-satellite weaponry. Entered the U.S. Space Force, formalized last year as the military's newest branch. I feel like they could have come up with a better name than that, but whatever. The worst disaster in Great Lakes history, from Smithsonian, from 2014. Exactly 105 years ago today, but in 2014, so now it's 6 years later, 111 years. The SS Eastland rolled onto its side while still docked in the Chicago River. An estimated 850 of Chicago's working class died. So why has it been forgotten? Why did it happen? This was abuse, from Vanity Fair. CBS looked the other way for years despite a slew of complaints against showrunner Peter Lenkov, mostly because he excelled at a difficult job. Okay. Consider the roadkill from outside. It sounds unsettling to some, but there are many arguments for and against eating roadkill. Can they all be true? Okay. Etc. Parents are rushing to form panic pots. Yes, it says pandemic pots, but we don't use that word here because we know the truth of what it is. Fabien Cousteau wants to build this futuristic underwater research station. Well, I don't know who that is, but I mean, if he's got the money to do something cool like that, more power to you. Dr. Anthony Fauci flattens a curveball straight into the ground. Ah ha 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 ha. Hair thinning? Learn how finasteride works to treat hair loss. Start your free visit on the HIMS telehealth platform today. HIMS. Yes, HIMS. HIMS. Fans take social distancing to new heights to watch their teams. Mapping every state's favorite snack. Exploding pigeons and other bizarre World War II weaponry. An epic shot of the Statue of Liberty during a storm. And one of the Lincoln Memorial. A realistic evaluation of most dogs' brain power. Clickbait. Venice places restrictions on overweight gondola riders. Well, I'm sure that's probably a good thing. If you get too many of those, you could sink your gondola, right? History book. Jacques Cartier claims Canada for France, 1534. Aviation pioneer Amelia Earhart born, 1897. Machu Picchu is rediscovered, 1911. Apollo 11 splashes safely in the Pacific, 1969. Happy birthday, Jennifer Lopez, 1969. Huh, cool for her. Never do things others can do and will do if there are things others cannot do or will not do. Amelia Earhart. That's an interesting quote. And it's a little bit timely since we've got so many people echoing in this countrywide echo chamber. But why? What's the point of saying all the same things that everybody else is saying? Say something different. But then you get canceled. And what would Amelia Earhart have to say about all this shit? That's it for our super smash of sundry news. Thank you, and goodbye.